Welcome back, good people. Welcome back. It's your good brother, Masud Imamo Tumre, and I wanted to give a quick video on the importance of checking the weather before you fly your kite. All right, and what I mean by that is actually checking the forecast of any high impact news that might be affecting, especially if you're dealing with in our case, foreign exchange, any high impact news or announcements that might be affecting the markets. Essentially, or in retrospect, saying that we are checking the weather before we fly a kite. Today, on July the 2nd, a Friday, today, if you notice, we have non-farm employment change and unemployment rates for the U.S. and the average hourly earnings all together at 8:30. And together, those three together, just the non-farm by itself is very high impact news. And the unemployment, of course, to know the unemployment rate that's going on. But all three of them together at the same time is going to give us what we call fireworks in the market. And if you are what we call an action trader, a trader that kind of exists around the lower time frames to get setups and entries and try to benefit from lower time frames, not longer term trades, then the news actually affects your trading because you get spikes a lot of times during the news or right before the news or even after the news, but usually right during that time at 8:30. As you can see, it's 8:27 and the news is going to be at 8:30. You'll usually get some kind of erratic movement in the market, and that's what we call fireworks. And we kind of sometimes, if we're not in a trade and it's going our way, we don't think about trading in between that time. A lot of traders have strategies that they maneuver through these news feeds and whatnot, and they do benefit. Some, I'm sure, are having hard times with it because it's very unpredictable. So what I want to do is 8:30, and we have the better part of 3 minutes, 3 to 2 minutes to the news. I want to kind of deal with the U.S. since the news is dedicated to the U.S. concerning the U.S. I want to kind of go through each U.S. pair that might be affected by the news at 8:30. So here we have the Aussie or the Australian U.S. dollar, the Euro U.S. dollar, the Great Britain U.S. dollar, the New Zealand U.S. dollar, the U.S. Canadian. All right, and what I'm gonna do is go ahead and kind of hide some of my drawings, my analytical findings and whatnot, so we can get a clearer picture of it. So that when 8:30 come, we might be able to see some fireworks and see exactly what happens during that time. And I want you guys, as we go through it, U.S. Japanese, as we go through it, I want you guys to think about it. If the market is set up in a way that we think here at KTG, that we think that it's set up for manipulation, inducement and manipulation and whatnot. Imagine yourself being in a market going one way, either way. It could, in this case, U.S. Japanese, it could be you could be buying, you could be selling it. It does not matter. But watch what happens if we get fireworks like we think we might get, some kind of spikes. Imagine the emotional roller coaster that traders are in when they try to figure out which direction to take. So we have 23 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and put on the 5 minutes to kind of give a good look at it. 16 seconds. Let's go ahead and take some of these MAs off. Even take off this, because I want you to focus on the 5 minute candle that is going to be produced. So we should be getting something. Let's see. All right. This is the U.S. Boom. Look at that. Fireworks. Now, of course, if you were thinking long on this or thinking buy, another word for buy, then right now you would be profiting, right? Or maybe you wouldn't. All right. Uh, I remember as this go on, and we're gonna check the other ones as this move. I remember a while ago I was looking at a young good brother. Shout out to him. I can't think of his name, but shout out to him if you ever listen to this. And he had a strategy that was called the pole dance. Disclaimer: this is not our strategy. This is not our method. But giving some shout out to him. He had a pole dance, and if you think about it, if you people know about pole dancing, it kind of seems like, look, it's only been a minute to this candle, by the way. It's a 5-minute candle. It seems like this market is kind of sliding up and down the pole, right? And so his strategy was, actually looking at it, determine on which way, and he would get a direction from which way the market slides up and down this pole. Hey, like I say, shout out to him. If it was successful for him long term, I'm not sure. For us, that's a little too erratic for us to make decisions on, right? And if you're anything like us, we kind of sit back on our hands on this. Sitting on your hands is like the hardest thing that you can do when it comes to trading. Let's check out some of these other ones. U.S. Chef. Wow, look at that. Look at that. What about the U.S. Canadian? Wow, look at that. Look at that. Look at the spike on it. Let's see if we can pull it up a little bit more. What about the oh my goodness, look at the New Zealand USD. Now, think about it. If you was coming down at this time, right before this candle, right, it was all good for a second. And think about it, this was a full red candle at one time. Think about how many people sold down here. Chart traders, and the market's proceeding to move up. Wow, look at that. That is something right there. Let's check out British US. Whoa, look at British USD. See, this is why you want to check the forecast, check the weather before you fly your kite, right? Anybody that's trying to fly their kite right now, maybe sold down here, right? They took a sell position down here because, of course, down there at one time it was all red candle, an engulfing red candle that engulfed this whole area right here. So many people sold right here, giving what? An opportunity for institutional buys. Right? Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Right? You have to pay attention. These are the things that we teach here. Look at Euro USD. Right? Seems like no US pair is exempt from look at that. From let's put on a 1 hour and see what's going on. From the actual 8:30 news, right? And again, for us, in our analytical thinking, we don't necessarily really worry about the numbers, but just to show, they had a forecast that the unemployment rate would be about 5.6. It previously was about 5.8. Let's see what happens if I refresh my screen. It's actually a little bit more than they thought. So that's not good for the U.S., but again, for us, that don't mean necessarily a non-farm employment change, which just basically mean anybody who's not a farmer, this pertains to, actually is saying that they forecast this was going to be people that was going to be saying that they was unemployed 725,000. It previously was pretty okay at 583, but this time we at 850,000 people that's unemployed, or at least putting in their claims of unemployment. So that's not good for the U.S., right? But for us, it does not mean that, hey, the U.S. is doing bad. That means Aussie could take advantage of them, which in this case they actually is taking advantage of them. Right? If you was betting on the Aussie beating up on the U.S., I mean, you're doing pretty good. And pretty much, I believe everybody, right, beating up on the U.S. at this point, because the news for the U.S. is not good right now, right? So if we was building the strategy off of that, that would be something that you would want to consider as far as checking the forecast. Look at that. The U.S., and I teach this to our students, the U.S., when we look at this, is actually on the left side, which means that it represents the green candle. So when we teach our young kids, we get as simple as possible. And any person, any pair, if the whichever market is on the left side pretty much represents the green, any market that's on the right side represents the red. And as you can see, because the news was not good for the U.S., which represents the green, the market is falling at this time around 8:30. If I was to go to the 5-minute candle, that's just that 5-minute 8:30 news candle right there. So again, just wanted to show you that, make a quick video. Right, appreciate you guys showing up again. Right, and I'll catch you out later. On the screen will be the link to the university. Get with us. We got information for you. And man, just remember this one thing if you don't remember nothing we say. If you don't get your services from us, your education, your knowledge from us, then we both lose money. Peace, peace, peace.